Hi, I'm Matt from Creative Flooring. Today we are on site with a client of ours. They've asked to have some Antico flooring laid with a motif. We've got Ardex on site with us today, so we'll run through the products we've used and the processes, and then you'll have a better understanding of why we do things. So first of all, we come and check the moisture contents of the floor. Then what we've done is vac the floor up to make sure there's no debris on the floor. From there, we've taped all the skirting boards up, used P51 primer to get a good coat so the compound can bond into the subfloor. So the reason we use P51 on this job is it's a porous concrete subfloor. So that basically means that the prime can penetrate into the subfloor, into the capillaries of the concrete, which gives us a good bond to the floor. If you've got ceramics, porcelain, maybe a DPM 1C that you're going over, you need to use a gritted primer like your P4. So the reason we didn't use that is because we've got a porous subfloor. We can use the P51, which gives us a good primer to the floor. Once that dries in about 20 minutes on site conditions, we're good to put the compound down. From there, we've then brought in the K39 compound, and that's our choice of compound over the surface today. The reason we use K39 is it's got a very long wet edge, so it makes it a lot easier when you're mixing up, and if you've got obstacles to go around, it still gives you time to tie all the wet edges in, so you end up with a glass finish floor. So now what we're going to do is we're going to mix up K39 to give ourselves a nice smooth floor ready for the Antico flooring to go down. The primer is dry, we're all set. So the next step will be putting down a smoothing compound to give us the glass finish that we're looking for. Having surveyed the floor, we know that there is a slight dip coming into this bottom corner. So what we're going to do is use more compound to come this bottom end, bring the floor up level, and then we can float it coming through where the walls have been knocked out. So by using the spiked shoes, it allows us to walk through the compound to make sure that the levels are all correct. Using our cam rake, we can push the material to hit the skirting boards. Again, not having to worry about the masking tape because that's protecting it. We can look through the floor. Once we're happy, we can then run a spike roller through it to release any air bubbles that might be caught within the compound. So now all the smoothing compound's on the floor, we're happy with our levels, and we're ready for the fitting the design floors. Okay, so we're on the second day. We've come in this morning. The compound's dried up nice and dry, so there's no issues we need to worry about. We've cut the masking tape off. That gives us a good 90-degree angle to the skirting boards for us to finish our LVT to it. Then we've got our adhesives. So we've got the A175, which is a fibre reinforced wet set adhesive. That's our adhesive of choice. We prefer to work section by section. If you've got any high solar gain, i.e. it could be through windows, through bifolds, maybe an oven, a log burner or anything like that, they've got a 2575, which is a one component adhesive. So we're going to use that in the window areas of the job. So the next process we need to do is measure out. We have a motif going in the middle of the floor. So what we've done is centralised with the centre of the TV and where the sofa is going, which was discussed with the customer. We found our measurement on the floor. So we now found the centre point where the middle of the motif needs to go. We'll line up our straight edge to make sure all cuts are even to the walls. And then from this point, everything around the motif and the centre of the room is going to be even cuts for the LVT that's going down. So what we've done is centralised up the motif to the living room where they wanted it all being set up. So now the motif is all set, it's all been glued into place. Now what we're going to do is use our adhesive. I'm a wet set guy, so I like to use the AF175. If you've got Sunlight, you can obviously use different adhesives, but this allows us enough time to get the section in, make sure that all the cuts are good, and then tape everything together, and then we can start working section by section down the floor. So the customer has picked Antico Signature. They can cut anything for you. So if you have a specific design or any requirements, you can send it off to Antico. They cut on their CAD department, they'll cut everything to you. So with the Lotus motif that we've got. The customers have picked the colours they wanted included within their colour scheme. That was then sent off to Amtico. They've made that bespoke for our customer. And then obviously this morning what we've done is made sure we're happy with the layout and that the customers are quite pleased with the overall positioning of the motif. What we've then done is cut the planks to it, because that was the most difficult part of the job. Once that's done, we glue the motif in place and then obviously cut the planks to that to give us a nice smooth edge around the perimeter of the motif. So the final thing we need to do is finish off the fitting of the straight lay wood plank, which is nice and easy. Michael's fitting up the far side. We'll continue to fit across the floor. Once the floor is all fitted in, the floor will be rolled with a 68 kg roller to make sure there's good transfer to the back of the planks. Once that's all done, we'll clean the floor off, give it a clean over, give the customers their care kit, and that's us done. Another job finished.